away where time cannot find me at all. Just a breath away, nothing here but heaven, nowhere but love to fall as I go within quiet peace. Offer something sacred. There's a sweetness that waits, holiest embrace that reminds me I'm always home as I go within quiet peace. Offer something sacred. There's a sweetness that waits, holiest embrace that reminds me I'm always home. It's here that I am always home.
Good evening. I'm Brian Atkins, and I'm a practitioner here at Seaside, and I will be doing your reading this evening. But first, please join me in prayer. And I know that God is all there is, and I know that God is right here, right this very moment, expressing itself through each and every one of us here at Seaside. And I know that we are all one with God. We are one with the source of love and caring and compassion, closer to us than our breath. That is where God is. And like the color of the rainbow, each and every one of us is the divine expression of God, expressing in our own unique way. And I give thanks in advance and knowing that this service this evening is one filled with love and support and joy and enthusiasm and lots of fun. And as the words flow forth from Reverend Debbie McDonnell's lips, each of us is touched. Each of us receives a shift. And as we go back out into the world, each of us spreads that consciousness on to others, and consciousness expands throughout the world. And so I simply turn this time over to the hands of God and know that it is perfect. And so it is. So our theme this evening is on everlasting love, and the following are excerpts from The Science of Mind written by Ernest Holmes on the concept of love. We live in a universe of law and a universe of love. The law of God is perfect, and the love of God is also perfect. The law of God is the way in which Spirit works. The love of God is the givingness of the Spirit to its creation. In contacting people, we are instantly attracted or repelled according to the vibrations which we feel. A person whose atmosphere is one of love and sunshine, whose nature is to be happy, who lives a clean, wholesome life in a free atmosphere, will always attract friends. The atmosphere of the home should never be clouded with the uncertainties of the outside world. Here, in the palace of human love, all else should be forgotten, and an atmosphere maintained which will be a shelter from the world. Here, love should be the ruling passion, and harmony should reign supreme. Here, above all other places, should the kingdom of God be established, and families should dwell together in peace and joy. And now Arya will lead us into meditation and song.
Thank you. Beautiful, thank you.
Surrender, I surrender, and let the silence hold me. Surrender, I surrender, and open to the love. Surrender, I surrender, and let the silence hold me. Surrender, I surrender, and open to Make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it's in giving that we receive, and it's in pardon that we are pardoned, and it's in dying that we are born to eternal life.
So beautiful. It's one of my favorite songs. Thank you so much, Ari and Jim. I'm just so grateful that you agreed to be here with me on Wednesday evenings. Thank you, Brian. What a beautiful prayer and reading. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to our Going Within service this evening. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you decided to take a break from your busy week and make that pause to connect with Source. It's a good way to go. This evening I'm going to be talking about everlasting love. That's a big subject. So what is love? What is love? You know, we have all different types of love. We have love for a child, love for a parent, love for a partner. We have platonic love, romantic love. We're here that love is a verb, love is a noun, love is an adjective. What is love? We have so much information about it. You know, Emerson said that love is the highest word and a synonym for God. You know, Emerson was one of the very first New Thought writers. And then Ernest Holmes, he says, God is love and love is God. They are one and the same. That God is love and love is God. You know, and I like to use all three words. I use three words for God often, and my words are God, good, love. They're interchangeable. God is love, God is good. They all resonate with me. And, you know, a few years ago, 6-7 years ago, I was going through a divorce. A 23-year marriage, and I was just devastated. I was just devastated, and I began to doubt anything that I thought that I knew, anything that I thought that I believed. I was in ministerial school at the time, and I was just crushed. I began to doubt these principles. I began to doubt God. I began to question, what's it all about? Why have I done all this work? What is going on? This stuff just didn't feel like it was working. And my spiritual teacher at the time, she was my mentor, and she gave me an exercise to do. And she said one day she wanted me to just go around and act as if there was no God. For an entire 24-hour period, to act that there was no God, there was no love, there was nothing. And I did that. I did that for 24 hours, and I got to tell you, it wasn't a very good day. It wasn't a very good day at all. I lost all hope. I saw no reason to go on. I saw no reason for this existence. Why were we here? There was no purpose, no reason. Nothing made sense. It just was a really flat down day. But the very next day, I got to spend 24 hours imagining and acting as if God was all that there was. And that was a much better day. That was a much better day. To imagine that everything that I saw was God, and of course we know that everything we see is God, don't we? I got to know that my children were God, my puppy was God, the trees were God, the ocean was God, the leaves were God, the rocks were God. I mean, it was all God, everything everywhere. And that felt good, and that felt right to me. So either God is everything or God is nothing. Love is everything or love is nothing. There can be no either or. It can't be God and something else. Because God is everything, that's it. God is everything. And so for me, I chose that day to step forward in the knowingness that God was all that there was. And everything around me that looked like chaos, that looked like confusion, that looked like a big old mess, I just trusted. And I just knew it was all God. And it was all part of the God expression. There's a new book out that's called A Course in Love. And it's a sequel, if you will, to The Course in Miracles. It was channeled the same way. And it's quite an interesting book. It's another big fat one like The Course in Miracles. And I hope later on the year that maybe we can spend some time together going deeper into that book. But what it says about love, it says that God's only thought is love. God's only thought is love. If you remember the book by Marianne Williamson, A Return to Love, it's a great book. If you don't have it on your bookshelf, it's a good one to own. It's an older book, but pull it down and reread it and look at it. She really breaks it down. And of course, Marianne Williamson comes from A Course in Miracles. That's her teaching and her belief and her background. But she talks about, and she says in the book, that I never knew that relying on God meant relying on love. I began to realize that taking love seriously would be a complete transformation of my thinking. Taking God seriously would be a complete transformation of my thinking. Taking love seriously. Sound familiar? Change our thinking, change our lives, right? That's what we learn here in religious science. Love and God are one and the same. They're inseparable. So what about unconditional love? How many of us are able to give 100% unconditional love all the time to everyone? What an order, right? That's a big one. Before I talk about that, I want to tell you a little story about a husband and wife who'd been married for 60 years, and they had no secrets from each other except for one. The wife had in her closet a shoebox, and her husband was forbidden to look in that shoebox, and it was the only secret in their entire marriage was what was in the contents of this shoebox. And towards the end of her days on earth, she was on her deathbed, and with her blessings, her husband got out the shoebox, and they opened it and take a look and see what's inside. And what was in there was $95,000 and a crocheted doll. And he said, "What is this, honey?" And she said, "Well, before we were married, my mother told me that the secret to a good, long-lasting marriage was to never argue. And whenever I got upset and angry, I was to crochet a doll." Well, he was feeling pretty good about himself. There was one doll for 60 years of marriage. That's pretty darn good. She'd only been mad at him one time. And he said, "Well, what about the $95,000? And she said, "Well, that's all the money I made for selling the dolls." So unconditional love looks different ways, doesn't it? How can we love the way that God loves? Are we really able to give that unconditional love to the people around us? Can we love our enemies as well as our friends? Can we love the many as well as the few? Jamie Lula has a song that I absolutely love. And Jamie Lula's music got me through ministerial school, got me through practitioner training, got me through ministerial school. So if you don't have any Jamie Lula CDs, there's ones that you want to get. But he has a song that says, "Let me love the way you do. Let me love the way you do." And that's his prayer in the song is, "Let me love the way you do, no matter what the world reveals to me. I want to learn how to love my enemy. I want to know what it's like to never judge again. Let me love the way you do." And that's my prayer, And it can be your prayer too. Let me love the way you live, Spirit. Let me love the way you love, Source. Let me love unconditionally. Let me see only with the eyes of love, always, everywhere. It's quite a practice. It's quite a high goal. It's quite a high goal. You know, as I was looking and working on this talk, and I was on the internet, and I was looking up things about unconditional love, and I came upon a blog that was written by a young mother. And the blog is called I Will Carry You, a journey of unconditional love. It is a story of a young couple with their third child. And 25 weeks into her pregnancy, she had to have an amniocentesis where they go in and they draw the liquid from the womb. And what it revealed was that the baby that she was carrying had 3 18 chromosomes. And so this was a fatal condition, according to the doctors. It was an abnormality that child could not survive. And so she was given the choice to induce the pregnancy and have the baby at 25 weeks and just allow nature to take its course. But her husband and her decided that that was not what they wanted to do. They wanted to keep their baby safe and warm and nurtured inside the mommy's womb until she was ready to be born. And then to allow God to do what God wanted to do at that time, to allow Spirit. And her whole blog is just so inspirational. She's an amazing young woman. So in April of 2012, little Nora was born. And the mother no longer saw her as an abnormality or feared what it was going to be, but it was just her loving little baby, this most beautiful little baby that she had. And she had a big brother and a big sister. And after 14 days, Nora was able to come home. And she had the feeding tubes, and she had the monitors, and she had the things that little babies have. And at 1 year old, she was still just 16 pounds. But she had survived a year. And she had taught that family so many lessons. You know, and then the blog goes on month after month, and then baby Nora becomes 2 years old, and she's still a tiny little thing. But there's pictures of her big brother giving her a bath, and her little sister, her big sister carrying her so proudly, and family vacations, and all the people from this blog. The blog had grown and grown and grown, and there was other families that were writing in and communicating with this young mother, and they were able to share that love, that unconditional love for that little child. And shortly after her 2 years, she was back in the hospital. And in 14 days, she made her transition. And this is what the mother wrote on the blog, and I think this is a wonderful example of unconditional love. Nora passed on to heaven in the very early hours of Tuesday morning, June 3rd, 2014. She was surrounded by family and friends who love her. Most who were present at her birth, including her labor and delivery nurse. I laid next to her. Her daddy stood on the other side. We sang songs to her, whistled to her, and stroked her soft hair as she was born into heaven. God has in fact answered our prayers for healing. She is completely restored, made new, and freed from all the tubes, wires, tapes, alarms, and monitors. We are so grateful that God chose us to be her parents for the beautiful 2 years she was on loan to us. She defied all odds and statistics because so many people loved her and prayed for her. She touched thousands of lives in a way I could never hope to do if I lived to be 120. What an amazing lady baby. What a gift. That is unconditional love. Can we love that way? I think the closest thing I know for me that I can imagine of God's love, the love of God, that love that is God, is for my children. We forgive them anything. We look the other way. We forgive them 70 times 7. We love them no matter what they say to us, no matter what they do to us. We love them. We just love them. And that's the love of God. That is that unconditional love that we're talking about. But what of everlasting love? Eternal love, everlasting love, that love that goes on and on forever. You know, when a loved one dies, the love doesn't end. When somebody makes their transition, they're not here in physical form anymore, but that love goes on and on and on. The love never ends. We are love. We are God. That is the very essence of who we are. It is the principle of the universe that love is all that there is, that God is all that there is. So that's the everlasting love that I'm talking about. It is the underlying principle of life. Ernest Holmes says, love is the central flame of the universe. Love is the central flame of the universe. Nay, it is the fire. Nay, it is the fire. Rumi simply says, love is a fire and I am a wood. Love is a fire and I am a wood. Are you willing to allow yourself to be consumed by that fire? Are you willing to allow yourself to be consumed by that love? To step into it so fully that you are absolutely consumed, that you're ablaze with the glory of that love of God, that love that is God. That love that is God. Can we fathom that kind of love? Can we fathom that kind of unconditional, everlasting, eternal love? Love is the essence of our being. The love that is in you and the love that is in me is a healing love. It's the activity of that love that does the healing. You know, Ernest Holmes talks about an effective prayer, which is a small pamphlet of his, and you can find it in the back of Can We Talk to God, I think is the title of the book. But he talks about effective prayer, and he says, love does not heal through force. Love does not heal through controversy. Love does not heal through power and force and violence, but love is that subtle healing. Love is that subtle healing, like turning on a light into the darkness, like putting a heat source into a cold room and the room warms up. It's subtle. We don't have to do anything but be the love. We show up as the love. We show up as the light, and the room is transformed. The situation is transformed. Whatever's going on changes. Ernest has a lot of great things to say about love, and I've shared from this book before. It's the 365 Days of Science of Mind, and there were so many great things in here, I had a hard time choosing which one I was going to stick with. But I wanted to read just this little bit of this one that says, I open myself to greater love. Love is the principle of life, for it is the nature of everything to give. Only the one who loves so much that there is no longer any room for hate will ever arrive at the place where, if there may be hate, he will never know it. Can you imagine? Love is the lodestone of life. I had to look up what that was. What is a lodestone? I think I'm pronouncing it right. It's a naturally occurring magnet that's found in the earth. It's a piece of stone that's a magnet. So love is the magnet of life. So what are we attracting? Love is attracting love. God is attracting love. It's interchangeable. When I speak of love, I'm speaking of God. I'm speaking of you, the very essence of who you are, the very essence of who I am. Love made manifest. You know, there was a thing a while back, if you remember, what would Jesus do? Well, I think our new thought version of it is, what would love do? What would love do? How can I be love in this situation? How can I show up as love in this situation? I remember once having a conversation with Dr. Christian, and I've learned quite a bit from Dr. Christian. I've been blessed to be here through my practitioner training and my ministerial school and to have him as a mentor. And I was in his office one day and we were talking about a mutual friend that was badly addicted to drugs. And what was the right thing to do? What was the best helpful thing to do? Should it be the tough love? Should it be the, don't answer the phone and all those sort of things that we know are things that we need to do sometimes when somebody's in that kind of addiction. But Dr. Christian simply said to me, yeah, but what would love do? Took my breath away. I've never forgotten that. What would love do? Can we ask ourselves that question in different situations? Love is the creating and sustaining power within me. That's the message of Ernest Holmes. Love is the sustaining and creating power within me. Love is the sustaining and creating power within me. Say that with me. Love is the sustaining power within me. Love is the creating and sustaining power within me. Touch your hearts and say it one more time. Love is the sustaining and creating power within me. And so it is. God bless you. Aria's going to sing for us. Aren't you, Aria? Come on out.
We didn't see that end coming. There is a love, a sweet and sacred love, unlike any I've ever tasted. It doesn't come from anyone, but from everywhere, all at once. There is a peace, a sweet and sacred peace, unlike any I've ever tasted. It doesn't come from anyone, oh, but from everywhere, all at once. And it moves like the softest breeze, and it feels like heaven to me, and it soothes my soul completely, and it feels like home. There is a love, a sweet and sacred love, unlike any I've ever tasted. It doesn't come from anyone, but from everywhere, all at once. And it moves like the softest breeze, and it feels like heaven to me. And it soothes my soul completely, and it feels like home. And it moves like the softest breeze, and it feels like heaven to me. And it soothes my soul completely, and it feels like home. And it moves like the softest breeze, and it feels like heaven to me. and it soothes my soul completely, and it feels like home, and it feels like home. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I just love listening to you. It's great. I wonder if we have any of your CDs in the bookstore. If we don't, we're going to have to get some in there. Yeah.
I'll check.
Aria has two CDs. One's a beautiful meditation CD, and the other is vocals, a lot of them from Reverend Tammy's Amazing Grace service that you'll remember. So I believe this is the time for our offering. Do we have ushers this evening? Dennis, I see Dennis. You want to come forward? And Karen, thank you. So this is the time of the service that we get to practice that reciprocity of spirit, that giving and receiving, knowing that as we give in our life, we receive. But that's not the reason that we give. We give because it makes us feel good. It extends that love. We spread it around. And I know that it is a way that Seaside's able to continue to do its work, all the work that it does here in the world through your generous donations. So we're so very grateful for you. Thank you to you two for being ushers. So just knowing right here and right now that there's only that one power and that presence, and it is love. And that is all that there is. And I know that money is just that exchange of love. I know that this place is a prosperous place, that Seaside is abundant, that each and every individual that comes through these doors is blessed and takes on that prosperity consciousness, moving in and through that abundant flow of the Spirit. I'm so grateful to know this truth. I just let it be. And so it is. You want to join me in our prosperity prayer that Melanie's going to give us? I shorten her name, but she doesn't like that. She likes Melanie. Melanie. No? There it is. As I give thanks for the good now flowing into my life, I gladly share that good with the others. The more I give, the more I receive. I experience a deeper consciousness of peace and security, for I know that I am in the embrace of a warm, loving presence, forever seeking an outlet through me. My cup runneth over. I exist in limitless possibilities. Thank you. Well, I have just a few announcements for you this evening. One of the perks of getting to come up here on Wednesday nights is I get to announce classes. I'm chair of education here at Seaside, so I'm always wanting to talk about what classes are available. We have some new classes that are just starting this week. One of them is our lovely Wednesday night coordinator, master practitioner, Jenny Mills. Wave, Jenny. Does everybody know Jenny? Jenny is starting a class, Power of Decision, based on Raymond Charles Barker's book, classic metaphysical book, The Power of Decision. It's the first time we've offered this class at Seaside. It's a dynamic class. We've listened to you. Some of you have said classes are getting up there a little pricey for you. So we have figured out a way to offer classes to everybody. This is a 5-week class. It's only $100. So please come and be part of that class with Jenny. Sign-ups are in the family room. You are Tuesday nights. Tuesday nights, starting this week, the 10th. So sign up to be with Jenny on that. Also, this Saturday, the 14th, is our Spiritual Mind Treatment Workshop. Now, all the foundation students take the workshop as part of the class. If you've taken it before, you're welcome to come again. It's a nominal fee, but you learn how to do the 5-step affirmative prayer that we do here in religious science. So if you're wanting to know more about prayer and how to do that prayer, please come again with Jenny. She is our Prac 2 teacher, so she gets to teach all the big stuff. So, the 14th, a week from Saturday. That's not this Saturday? No, am I ahead of myself? Okay. So a week from, it's the 14th. And Jenny's class starts on the 10th. So I may be ahead on that one too. And then on the 15th, Rosedale Jones has a workshop here on mental equivalence. And a couple weeks ago, I talked about mental equivalence. That's starting on the Sunday afternoon workshop. And then this is a little advance notice. On February 22nd at Seaside, we're kicking off our 40 Days of Creativity. That's a Sunday. We have Jill Bedoncia coming to do an improv class with anybody that wants to do that. So it's a little bit of a fun class. And it's the day that you want to come to Seaside because we're going to be giving everybody a guide, a 40-day guide to follow through with Dr. Christian. And we have Sacred Circles coming. Sign-ups will be in a few weeks for that. So know that's coming up. Also, we just got back from the semi-annual gift show. Bookstore is loaded with some new wonderful gifts. We've got lots of things for your honey for Valentine's Day. So if you have a chance to stop and see Bruce in the bookstore on your way out, CDs are also available of the talk. Next week, Reverend Laurie's talk is going to be a return to love, a return to love. If you haven't picked up on it, this month at Seaside is creating an amazing love. Part of our creating an amazing year at Seaside, February is creating an amazing love. And Dr. Christian will be speaking on that as well on Sundays. Our practitioners are available for prayer. Please know that. We have Sherry tonight and Brian. You can meet them. I think we have Trudy's here as well, out at the prayer chapel on the side, out these doors. Please don't leave here with anything on your heart. Our practitioners are here to pray for you. That is their joy, to pray with you. If you would not like to receive a live prayer, but you want to put a written prayer request into the prayer request chest, you can do that as well. And those are distributed confidentially to all of our 50 Seaside practitioners. So please take advantage of them. They love to pray. That's what they're trained to do. I want to thank everybody that makes Wednesday night possible. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Ginny. Thank you, Aria and Jim. I love working with you. Melanie, thank you for sound. Gregory's doing it on our podcast. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everyone who makes this Wednesday night service possible. So now all we have left to do is to pray. And I would love to hear from you. I've heard a few of you say you'd like to do the prayer like Reverend Tammy used to do, where you get to include your loved ones. Find me in the family room afterwards and let me know if there's something you'd like to see here on Wednesday nights that we're not doing. It's your service. I want you to have what it is that you're desiring, what your heart's desiring, so we all can create this experience together. But for tonight, I'm going to pray, and then we're going to do our closing song. Nicolette, you're going to help me with the closing song, right? I hope so. So just turning within, knowing there is only that one power and that one presence, and it is God, and it is good, and it is love. And I know that there is nothing, absolutely nothing but the divine. That love is absolutely all that there is. Anything that looks anything other than love is just an illusion and falls back into the nothingness from which it came. I know that I am one with this source. I know that I am one with love. And just as I know this is true for me, I know it's true for each one here. I know that each one in this sanctuary is a perfect expression of God, perfect, whole, and complete right here and right now. I know that each one is that individualized expression of love unto this planet, that each one is the hands of God, the voice of God, the feet of God here on this earth. And I know and I claim for each and every one an absolute perfect unfoldment of their days and their weeks and their life, knowing that each one is in that place of the highest vibration. I know for Seaside Center for Spiritual Living that it's absolutely blessed. It's absolutely blessed and is able to carry on all that it does in the world. I know that everyone that is called here by a divine assignment to be part of this greater consciousness, to be part of this evolution of creating a world that works for all. Knowing that there is a love here that is palpable, that it's safe and nurturing and warm. I am so grateful to be part of this spiritual community. I am so grateful to be part of this place that we call Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. I am so grateful to be part of this friendship and fellowship that exists here. It's with that sense of absolute gratitude that I just release these words in the divine nature of the law, knowing that in the mind of God, it's already done. And so it is. Thank you for coming and singing with me. Love
is my decision. It's up to me
to give up my heart. Love is my decision.
No one else
Can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, love will show me how. Love is my decision.
my decision right here and now.
Love is my decision.
It's up to me to dance down that road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. Oh, and once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision. My decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
God bless you. Join us in the family room for cookies and tea. Nicolette.
I believe in everlasting love. I will receive everlasting love. I live in peace and everlasting love. I live in peace and everlasting love. Come join with me in everlasting love. Receive everlasting love. Everlasting love.